Welcome to Thursday, the 16th day of March, 2023. Your Day Weather Podcast brought to you by Cowboy State Daily. Check them out at cowboystatedaily.com. Also being brought to you by WYDOT. Chilly conditions behind the front that is moving through the region right now. Boy, it was nice in many areas to enjoy warmer spring-like conditions in many areas. Of course, we had to deal with a lot of wind. Now we're on the back side of the front in the region, so it is going to be chilly. There will be some snow shower activity in the region today. You're going to notice really more than anything, it's a lot colder. Now the storm system that's coming through is remaining a bit disorganized, but as it heads into the upper Midwest, it is going to get a little better organized as it heads to our east. That's been the trend lately. So that's where the worst winter weather conditions will be. But the door to Canada, wide open. So here comes the Canadian air, and there's nothing to push it out. So the Canadian air settles in over the next few days. The good news is that as this cold air settles in, it isn't going to be as windy. As we get into Friday and Saturday and Sunday, yes, it'll be much colder than average, but there won't be a lot of wind. As there's actually a little bit of a break in the weather pattern. It's just going to be cold, and that'll be good news not to have as much wind with it. Now, we have a brief break in these Pacific storms through Monday. Actually, California, the interior west, has got a little gap in systems coming on through in this cool weather pattern. However, we start to see the pattern in the Pacific ramp up again with the next larger trough coming into the West Coast, then into the Rockies and High Plains towards the middle of next week, and one or two more systems behind that one. Today's satellite photo shows that break here along the West Coast. Right here, there's a bit of a high pressure ridge. That's what's coming in this weekend. And you can see all the cloudiness headed up across eastern areas of South Dakota, eastern Nebraska. There's some moisture back here in the Four Corners region that is going to make it snow in the mountains of southern and southwest Colorado, northern New Mexico. Going to see a pocket of moisture go through those southern areas there. But most of this now is going to be heading into the upper Midwest as the storm gets better organized. The blue patches up here representing some cold air coming in behind the system. And there you can see the upper level winds aloft at 18,000 feet coming in from the northwest now behind this trough. And here's your area of a ridge, a little bit of high pressure ridge coming in from the west. So colder, blustery conditions today, but as that high moves in, lighter winds, it's just going to be cold. And precipitation through Sunday morning. You can see New Mexico here, parts of Arizona, southern Colorado with that patch of moisture. Then here into the upper Midwest is where that precipitation is going to go, and that's where the snow will be mostly falling as well. But look at the West Coast. Wow, there's white there. There's not much going on. That's temporary. However, look at the cold air. This is by 6 p.m. today. A very sharp frontal boundary right here moving into the plain states as cold air comes in on the back side of the system. So it's jacket day again. After 2 days, really 3 days, where it felt like spring, winter temperatures are going to be returning. And as I step forward in time here, this is a little depressing, so trigger warning. These are the forecasted temperature anomalies on Friday. These are the forecasted temperature anomalies on Saturday. This is what it looks like on the first official day of spring. Yes, believe it or not, Monday is the first official day of spring. Almost the entire lower 48 states. And look at Mexico. I mean, all the way down into Cuba. It's cold everywhere on the first day of spring. So the first day of spring across the entire country is not going to feel like spring at all as the cold air just settles in behind this system and our cold march continues. Now, this is by around noontime on Tuesday. The next system to crash the party comes into the West Coast as we get on into Tuesday. Then the system is going to head into some form into the Central Rockies by the middle of next week. Still don't know if it's going to be able to hold together and be an organized system or a disorganized system. Right now, it looks like it's going to remain somewhat disorganized as it crosses the divide. But there are more systems in that breeding ground up in the North Pacific that'll be forming. So this system will come through 2 or 3 days later will be that next system. So there is really no significant change in the pattern overall over the next 7 to 10 days. Out in the Pacific, we talked about La Nina officially going away, and it is. This is this to show you how much sea surface water temperatures have changed in a week. Look at this warm up right here in the subtropical Pacific. So the erosion of La Nina is really going away quickly. And when you have a big warm up like this over a fairly short amount of time in the El Nino region of the Eastern Pacific like this, it's kind of like adding energy like a cattle prod to the atmosphere. And we also have this contrast between these warmer temperatures here and these colder temperatures that are along the coastal areas. This, again, this gradient is going to keep the Gulf of Alaska active. So there will be more lows coming through, and we're seeing this phase change right now in the Eastern Pacific. So it's just like poking the bear a little bit. When you poke the bear, you're going to be getting the bear a little bit angry. And these are the sea surface temperature anomalies now as of Monday. Look at this. I mean, this is a complete reversal. So this is adding fuel to the fire, so to speak. So we're going to continue to have an active weather pattern. The question is will this active pattern just produce these fast-moving waves coming off the Pacific, or are we going to get one or two to slow down and become larger storms? We'll just have to wait and see. But this continues to show kind of a lot of volatility going on in the Pacific as we phase change from La Nina to a neutral status to an El Nino by late summer or early fall. And you can see that right here. This shows you the depth of the water below surface, how cold that anomaly has been, and how deep that colder water was throughout last summer, through last fall. Then we started to see it fade there in December. Then finally, we're into a situation right here where the upper heat content in that key area now is turning a lot warmer. So you're seeing some of that responding changes in response to that now developing as we head on into late March and into April and May. Have yourself a good Thursday. Stay warm. See you tomorrow.